Hi, this is Gila. So I gather that yesterday's demonstration in London was essentially a success. I wasn't able to go there. I don't actually live anywhere near London anymore. But I haven't yet managed to find out how many people turned up. So if anybody knows that information, I'd be really interested in knowing. And I am certainly trying to keep tabs on everything that's happening. So the next big date is this Wednesday, the 18th of July, when Tommy Robinson finally gets his appeal heard. And it's in front of a panel of 3 judges, including the Lord Chief Justice, who is the top judge in Britain. So let us hope and pray that he gets treated utterly fairly, and also that he's able to get out of prison and spend some time with his wife and family, which I'm sure he and they badly need him to do. Okay, so the next question is, what next? There's a lot of people have been stirred up by all this, and I don't think that stirring up is going to end. If anything, it's only going to get more so, because quite frankly, the whole concept of political correctness, the frankly unjust laws about hate crimes and hate incidents on which police are wasting money and resources and which cause a great deal of offence and hurt to good people, really needs to be changed. It was Brigitte Gabriel. She is a Lebanese Christian. Nowadays she's American. She grew up in Lebanon during the Civil War, and she witnessed firsthand what can happen when the majority of a country becomes Muslim. There was civil war. They fought against the Christians, against all the people who had supported them and said, you know, we support your rights to be Muslims and have freedoms and so on. But as soon as there was a majority, it didn't matter, they were infidels, and there were terrible things that happened. And she made a very good point that the majority of people in Germany before the Second World War weren't really Nazis. The majority of Russians weren't really communists, and yet appalling things were done. There were terrible atrocities that killed millions of people. And it doesn't take a majority of people to do them. So the fact that most Muslims undoubtedly would not follow the example of Muhammad in murdering people and beheading them and going around fighting and creating mayhem, as happened in Arabia, at least as is recorded in Islamic sources in the Sirah. Most people who are Muslim, I'm sure, wouldn't do that these days, but it only takes a minority to actually follow the ethically troubling prescriptive commandments in the Quran that abrogate any earlier peaceful ones that basically command faithful Muslims to murder or to abuse non-Muslims simply because of their beliefs. And they have the full weight of divine will, as I've described in an earlier video. And let's not pussyfoot around that. This is the elephant in the room, and let's name it for what it is. I'm not talking about Muslims as people. Of course, there are some wonderful people who are Muslims. I've been privileged to know some for myself when I was living in England. But the ideology, frankly, as presented in the Quran and the Hadith, is essentially a supremacist, bigoted political ideology that has the added trappings of a religious imperative that this is the ultimate direct will of God. And that makes it very dangerous. Now, most of it, fine. People should be free to follow whatever they want. And I appreciate that anybody brought up in this belief system who's been taught that this is the way to be and that there is no other way, to serve God, would have a very difficult time coming out of it. But that's not the point. The point is the problematic verses and the implications for all of us. And this needs to be faced, and this needs to be spoken about openly, and not pretended that when the latest Islamic terrorist atrocity happens, that it's nothing to do with Islam. Unfortunately, it's everything to do with Islam. Maybe not the Islam followed by many people, but certainly the Islam followed by Muhammad, and the Islam that's actually presented in the Quran and Hadith. Okay, couple of other things. So let us hope and pray Tommy Robinson gets out of prison this coming week. In the meantime, if anybody wants to email him, I'm sure he would appreciate as much support as he can get. I'll give the link below, as I've given in earlier videos. Also, if anyone can afford to help support his legal campaign, please do so. And also, he has specifically asked for his previous boss at the Rebel Media, Ezra Levant, to come from Canada to come and cover the trial on Wednesday, so that he feels he's actually getting a fair representation by media, because the mainstream media are likely to come out with the usual nonsense about racism and far right and all the rest of it, which simply isn't the case. So this obviously costs a lot of money, so if anyone can help Ezra Levant there, I'm sure he would appreciate it. So I'll give some links below. And in the meantime, let's hope and pray that a good way forward can be found, where we can all respect each other, our differences, be sensitive towards them, and live in a free and fair society in Britain, but that we don't have to put up with political nonsense that really isn't true. Thank you so much. I'm wishing all the best to everyone, and especially to Tommy Robinson and his family. Thank you. Goodbye.